There were three friends and they lived in a house in the jungle. One of them was called Winston. Now Winston was a little lizard and he was very clever and he invented things, and he was up in the tree inventing a wind machine. And the second friend was called Wobbly, and Wobbly was a frog. And he used to work in the garden, like Jocelyn. He loved gardens. And he looked out after the garden. He planted the rice and the vegetables and the fruit. And he worked every day very hard in the garden, busy in the garden. And the third member of the household was called Martin. And this is Martin the monkey. Martin the monkey. Now Martin worked in the house and he did the cooking and he did the housework and he looked after the things in the home. And if he did have some time off, he used to go swinging through the trees. And if any little creatures from the forest would come knocking at the door because they were hungry, Martin would share their food with these little creatures who didn't have enough food. Martin was very kind and thoughtful. And so these three friends lived together in their house until one day Wobbly, who was digging in the garden, found a box. Oh my! And he called his friends down. He called Winston down from the tree and he called Martin out of the house to come and have a look at the box. And they looked at this box and they didn't know what to do. They didn't know whether to open it or not. And Winston, who was very clever, said, "I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go into the jungle and we will ask some people in the jungle, some creatures in the jungle, what we should do." And so that is what they did. They set off. They had their stick with their food in the little handkerchiefs and they set off into the jungle, making sure that they'd got some food with them. And the first person they came to was a tortoise. So they knocked on the shell. Nothing happened. So they knocked a bit harder. And out came the tortoise. And he went, "Oh, oh dear, who's woken me up? Who's woken me up? I'm so tired. Oh, oh dear. Whatever's the matter?" Well, the three friends said, "We've got this box, we found it, and we don't know whether to open it or not." "Oh, goodness me," he said, "I'm far too old to be thinking about things like that. Now, I suggest you go up into the mountain and find the eagle. Oh, he's sure to maybe know what to do. I'm sorry, I can't help you, I'm far too tired." And back into the shell he went. Well, the friends looked at the mountain and it looked very high. They were down there and they knew that they had to climb right up to the top. And so they set off. And it took them a long time to climb up that mountain to find the eagle. And they climbed and they climbed and they climbed. And at long last they came across the eagle. I am the eagle. I live in high places, in rocky cathedrals that reach to the sky. And what do you want, you little creatures? They explained about the box. Well, I'm far too busy to be thinking about something like that. Go down into the valley, find the bees, they'll know what to do. Off you go now, I can't be doing with you. And so the little creatures went down into the valley, and there they found the little bees. And they said to the little bees, who were very, very busy buzzing around in the flower, "We found this box and we don't know whether to open it." And the main bee, with the crown, said, "Of course you open that box. In that box, you will find the way to happiness. You go back and open that box." And so the little bees carried on buzzing around in their flower. And so the three friends set off back home. And as they were reaching close to home, they heard a sound. And suddenly they saw a snake. Psst. Psst. "Hello," he said. "I tell you what, I've heard about this box. Why don't you give that box to me? It looks interesting. Tell you what, I will build you a house of gold with diamonds and jewels if you give me this box." Psst. The friend said, "I don't think so. That's our box. Off you go." And so the friends got back. And there was the box. And what do you think was in that box? Nothing. Do you think was in that box? Well, I went to our granddaughter's school and I shared this story. And I asked that question. And the children were 5 years old. One child put their hand up and said, "I know what's in the box. Gold." And another child put his hand up and said, "Oh no, I think it's jewels. I bet it's jewels." And somebody else put their hands up and said, "Oh no, I think it's treasure. There's treasure in that box." And one little girl put her hand up and said, "Love is in that box." Well, inside this box, there were 3 letters. There was a letter to each of them, and the letters said, first was to Winston, and it said to appreciate who you are, being clever, and to like yourself and to appreciate yourself, but also to appreciate Martin and Wobbly and who they are. And then there was another little letter, and it said, to Wobbly, it's important to appreciate how good you are at working in the garden and working hard, and to like yourself. But it's also important to appreciate Winston and Martin. And to Martin, to appreciate and to like yourself, who you are and how good you are at looking after the home and for being so kind and helpful to other people. But also it's important to appreciate Winston and Wobbly. And so they understood that actually how important it was to appreciate and to like themselves. Who they were all so different, the lizard, the frog and the monkey, all so different with their different talents, and how important it was to appreciate themselves and to appreciate others. But I also think that love has a lot to do with it. There you are, the end of the story.